It's an exciting day for me in Mustard Land, where I am overdrawn, and it's a race to get to the bank to put enough money into the bank so that my insurance can actually be paid. That's my car insurance. About a week ago it got bounced back, and that means I get charged more money. So if it had just come back and took it again with the same amount of money I had, I'd be able to pay it. But no, they want another £30. It's always the way. If you're struggling, they'll make sure that they give you a kick in whilst you're down. Everybody knows this. Bit skint. Oh, great, we can help you out by charging you another £30. That will certainly make you feel better. I am 55 years old. I have a clean driving licence and I have full no claims. So you'd imagine that, my insurance wouldn't be that expensive. But I do live quite close to a place called Rochdale, which, due to some of the behaviour of the people around this particular area, it's one of the highest insurance categories in the country. So thank you, Scroats. Also add that the year before last, somebody ran into the back of my car and wrote it off, which means that although there was nothing I could do about that and it wasn't my fault, I still have a claim against me, even though I've made no claims. I'm not sure how much difference it makes, but it does. Comprehensive cover, fire and theft, with social, domestic and pleasure and business. That's my policy. 8 cars, up to 8 cars on a trader's policy. I keep on thinking, do I really need a trader's policy? Am I doing enough to warrant it any longer? Well, probably not. But the fact is that once you let it go, it's very difficult to get back again. And so all this means that even at my age, with my driving record, I'm still paying £172 a month, which is quite a lot. I think it's quite a lot. Anyway, thanks to Close Brothers, I now owe another £30. That's £232 I need to pay today. Otherwise I'm risking losing my insurance altogether. And in you go, dog. I just sold a set of seats
in the way that she...
£20. And that's enough with a bit of change to make up for the shortfall. But it means I've got to go out now to town to go and pay it in. So I need to take the dog home first, because I can't really leave the dog in the car whilst I wander around town. What time is it? Oh, I've got about an hour and a half, I reckon, before the deadline of my unarranged overdraft. At least banking isn't what it used to be. I mean, banks used to get away with that all the time. Halifax allow up to 2:30 in the afternoon to use an unorganised overdraft, and they don't charge anything for it. So at least there's that buffer there. But I don't consider it a buffer. It's not. I don't want that to happen, because it means that any money that I've got in the bank is completely unusable anyway until after 2:30, and so you can't just let things go like that, because you end up in even more trouble. But the reason I find myself in positions like this isn't because I don't work hard. It's also not because I waste money. I don't waste money. I rarely spend money. I try and eat in such a way where it doesn't cost a lot of money. My cars don't really cost a lot of money, although my insurance does. It's because of something else. It's because of something that is going to stop. I've come to the end of my tether. I'm going to stop being nice. I'm going to stop doing helpful things unless I'm getting something in return. It's as simple as that. Nobody makes a success out of themselves by putting other people first. And this is a lesson that I've decided that I'm going to learn. And I'm going to learn it right now. And over the past week or so, I've been thinking about the implications of actually trying to be selfless. Being empathic does nothing but get you into trouble. Nobody becomes wealthy by putting other people first. They also don't worry about friends or family whilst climbing their ladder. They also don't drive around in stupid multicoloured old cars unless they're getting paid for it. Sometimes you're best off just going out in the evening and having a walk. That didn't really turn into anything other than a load of aimless rambling that didn't take away any of the frustration. In my late 20s and early 30s, I got myself into debt with the bank. Do you know how? No, you don't, because I haven't told you. But I was being nice. All the time I kept getting stopped and saying, oh, would you like to contribute to this charity? It's just a direct debit of £5 a month or £10 a month or something like that. I was like, yeah, I like cats. Oh, I like people that are homeless. I like the idea of helping guide dogs. I like the idea of stopping the rainforests from consuming its own. Yes, I do want to do my bit to help famine. And I did. But £5. £5 is all it takes. Who wouldn't let that £5 go from their pocket into a charity's pocket to help out someone much more needy than I am? Yeah, of course. The other thing is, when I found myself once in a situation where that £5 wasn't quite there, I'm sure it was something like £4.97 I had left in the bank, but obviously the direct debit still tried to come out. And at the time, Lloyds, double L, Lloyds, well, they take advantage. They used to charge £30, or was it? No, they used to charge £35 for a bounced direct debit. So for the sake of 3 pence that I didn't actually have, it cost me £35. And guess what? Guess what? The next day, another one. I ended up with 4 bounced direct debits, amounting to charges of £140. And of course the charities didn't get their money, and they get straight on to me and saying, oh, we do hope you want to continue to support us. Yes, I do. It's just through my finances, that's all. Eventually I give up on having direct debits for charity purposes. I just decided it was doing me no good, but it took quite a while. It took me being into debt on numerous occasions. The banks, certainly back then, were the equivalent of a rich man walking down the street and seeing a homeless person sat on the pavement, cold, shivering, wet, with a little tub in front of him. And the rich man bends over and says, oh, have you got any spare change? And the poor man says, I haven't got any spare change. And he just says, well, I can see 2 pence there. Well, but it's the only 2 pence I've got. Well, it'll do, thanks. No, they won't actually say thanks, would they? And it is the nature of any company that is successful. You have to do it by simply not giving a shit. You can pretend that you give a shit, you can pretend that you're caring, but in actual fact, you're not, because as soon as you are, you're not going to get anywhere, because you're going to fall for the sob stories, or so you call them, sob stories. Some of them may be sob stories, but usually anyone with a sob story has some sort of strife on the go anyway that motivates that sob story. Well, we all find this frustrating, don't we? Taxation is simply a system of taking your money off you so it can be given somewhere that you don't approve of. Does anybody think that actually the money that you pay in tax is worthwhile? I very much doubt it. Some of Rochdale is rather fascinating. It's incredible. It's just a pity that the rest of it's automatic. Anyway, back to the point. Having had my morning waiting for a little bit of cash, I can come down to the town and put it into the bank to make sure that the money is clear so that Clothes Brothers can have another £30 off of me. I am now okay. But this afternoon, I'm going to make some changes. You should never put yourself into debt to help someone out that won't help you out in return. And that, I'm afraid, is something that's happened with me, with one particular person. I won't tell you who it is, but it is one person. And no, it's not who you think it is, although it might be, depending on who you think it is. Best not to make judgment, actually, because, well, actually, it's between me and this other person. You don't have to need to know about it. It's as simple as that. But here marks the change. I'm actually going to turn off being the nice man. I don't mean become horrible. I mean be reasonable. Whenever I've sold things to people, I always end up feeling a little bit inclined and a little bit obliged to, if I know the person, let them have it cheaper. Of course, mates rates, we all do that. Mates rates gives mates the upper hand, gives them the opportunity to rob you whilst being your mate. Yes, that's the first thing. Mates rates is now something of the past, because the truth is, everybody ends up becoming your mate, don't they? You don't know people to start with, and then you get to know them either through whatever it is that you do with yourself, or from before that. But the majority of people that you know are there because of what you actually do. So therefore, you've no choice but to have mates rates, have you? Driving instructor behind me, texting whilst driving. That's your standard, isn't it? How things have changed. If when I first took on the agreement for the lockup, and I said to him, well, yeah, I know it's this amount, but sometimes I probably won't be able to pay you. And I am very, very disorganised with money, and I'll let everybody walk all over me, which means that it can be tricky. He went, oh yeah, well that's fine, just do your best. Then that would be a different matter, wouldn't it? One of the reasons I feel a bit uncomfortable talking about this kind of thing is because it implies that somebody is letting me down or taking the piss. And I don't really want to say that, because how I am framing this is this kind of thing is only happening because I allow people the space to do exactly that, if that's what it is. It even happens when it comes to doing work on cars, where somebody will ask me to do a job and I feel embarrassed to say, yeah, I want this much for doing it, unless I don't actually know them. Or the same for a part. It's just, it's much nicer just to say, yeah, just bring it round, I'll just do it, and buy me a beer or something. And that kind of nice attitude again gets me nowhere at all. And where do I get that from? Senior Mustard, who does exactly the same thing all the time. The difference is that he's retired and he doesn't really need to worry about, I need to start making a living properly. I've got to go against the grain. I've got to do things I'm not comfortable with. I've got to start asking money for things I do, asking money for things I store. And basically, if I don't put myself first now with this, it's all going to come tumbling down and I won't be able to continue doing any of it. I have the slight urge to get on the train and just go to Halifax or Bradford or something like that. That's not going to help masses, is it? If I do not deal with this now, deal with all these vehicles that aren't mine, and put an end to the way I do things, I am going to be out. It's as simple as that. Simple as, sorry, but you're going to have to clear out. You've got 3 weeks to get rid of everything. At that point, it's going to be the end. Already, I'm considering scrapping the Toyota Aygo before I've even taken anything off of it, just to make the space. I am never ever going to get anywhere by thinking like that. So I simply have to turn it upside down. This is kind of me saying now, everything has to go. If it's not mine, it's got to go. If I make a loss on it, I make a loss on it. If I have to pay somebody just to not have it in the yard any longer, then that's what I'll do. If I have to be in debt just to clear up the yard, that's what I will do. Everything, I think, needs to just be chucked